you know, like at bars and cafes, there are brawls. And sometimes, unfortunately, they escalate and people fight, and to the point that they hurt each other. I remember there was a time, there was an area this direction on Victor. It was called Victor Alley, and right down that way toward Gray, it was called Bull and Ditch. And if somebody got killed in the cafe, the police were so intimidated by this area. If they came 4 in a car with an extra car in case somebody was transported. Sometimes they wouldn't even come like that. They'd say, lock it up, and we'll have the coroner meet us out there in the morning. And they wouldn't come.
Which year are you talking about?
Right down the street here.
No, which year?
That's like 59, 60, because I was in elementary school. And
Which would you say is the roughest patch in this neighborhood's history in terms of crime and, unsafety?
Ooh. It wouldn't be West. Would it be West Dallas?
No, which year, which period?
Say from the 50s to the mid-70s, late 70s.
What made it so rough at that time? What caused that kind of...
Because at that time, this was a thriving black community. And there was a lot of... This was almost like Bourbon Street. Not to that magnitude, but it was always busy. It was always bustling. And people were going out to party, and they were... They gambled. Black men gambled a lot. And they'd have sidewalk dice games, and they would argue over the dice, and that would escalate to a fight, and then somebody would kill somebody. And
you're talking about the period pre-segregation and post-segregation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talking about, two different social eras in this country's history.
Mm-hmm.
Did post-segregation make it better?
Well, it didn't. It did in some areas as far as opportunity for academics. It got better because then we could go to better schools, because there was a time where we got the books that the white children were no longer using, and we would get those books rather than current books, which wasn't a good place for us, but at least we were learning. For that, yeah, and then with the with the things changing, we also start to get employment opportunities better, because I didn't like being a token black on a job, but if it got me in the door, that's what it took. That's what it took. Sometimes, if I had to be that token black, then I'd be that token black. Because I've had some very good jobs in my life, and it was
the teaching positions that you...
But I didn't always teach. I mean, I worked for Exxon. I've worked at Ben Taubin's Psychiatry. I worked behavior modification programs for children and adolescents that were dual diagnosed. They had a MHMR diagnosis plus polysubstance abuse of some kind. I worked with kids that were into autoeroticism, that would hang themselves and masturbate. I worked with multiple personality disorders. I worked with sociopathic disorders. I worked State Hospital in San Antonio at 5900 South Presser. I worked the criminally insane unit. I worked with water intoxicants. Those were all jobs that, because of my racial profile, I was allowed to work. Every job I got wasn't on my own merit, and I know that. Some jobs was because of who I was. So with the post-desegregation, I was like, okay, and the Civil Rights Bill being looked at and scrutinized so closely, I got a lot of opportunities that probably I wouldn't have gotten. I believe what you see today of me is post-addiction. I lived 14 years as a slave to crack cocaine. And as a direct result, I could never teach public school again because along the way, I picked some felonies up. Because of that, I can't get food stamps, no kind of public assistance. I can't get housing in one of the housing projects here because I'm a felon. And the only way I could override that is if I had a terminal illness. Living somewhere wouldn't be of importance if I had a terminal illness. It wouldn't matter where I live. I'm not going to be here, Of course, none of us we're all transitional. None of us are permanent fixtures here. But that would be the criteria for me to get into public housing. I'd have to have full-blown AIDS or second-stage cancer or something to get public housing now.
And when you say that you had the addiction to crack cocaine, was it because you were here in this neighborhood, or was it just because of family history? And
I think it was because I was genetically predisposed. My father was an alcoholic, and I was determined that I wasn't going to be an alcoholic. So I ended up going the other direction. And to me, in my twisted mindset at that time, it was like, I'd rather be addicted to this than alcohol and laying on the streets, but it didn't matter. I was on the streets anyway. I lived in abandoned houses, sometimes ate out of dumpsters. So what you see today is 5 years of very hard work. And when I say hard work, I'm talking about on me to restructure who I was, or to even restructure who I want to be. It's a long haul back. Today I still have issues, but today I know that the drug would only compound my problem. So I stay clean and sober. I would not trade my worst day sober for my best day getting high. Because in the end result would still be the same. It would be devastating. It would be demoralizing and dehumanizing. If anybody else had treated me like I did during my addiction, I probably would have taken their life. Because I really misused myself. But today I've learned to be my own best friend. And I'm comfortable in my skin. So I don't have a need to self-medicate. If the doctor don't give it to me, I don't take it. And whatever he takes, I take with great scrutinization. I scrutinize it very closely. I only take it when it's a necessity. Because I am predisposed. When I learned that about myself, and I accepted who I am, then and only then could I move on. There were some things from my past that I had to forgive. Not for them, but for me, so that I could move on with my life. Because I was stuck in a very stagnant place in my life because I couldn't move forward. Because I couldn't forgive. And I held on to resentment and anger, and it set like a cancer and festered until it erupted. And when it erupted in things like maladjusted behavior, misdirected anger and rage. And today, I don't have to live like that just because I did a simple thing like forgiving some people in my life so that I can move on with my life. And so I haven't always been able to sit down and frame our history to you as I am today. And I give all of that to God. Because if it was not for His grace and mercy, I don't think I'd be here today. I think I would have been a statistic today. I would have died in my own mess. You know, so.
Well, thank you for your honesty and just sharing your story.
That's my buddy.
She's seen me at my worst and my best.
Oh yeah.
Friends,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
See, that's what a friend is. Somebody that can watch the show and like you after it's over.
Or even as it's happening.
He's good, though. He's good. He's good. Mm.
Cool.
There's just a time, you know, I think there comes a time in everybody's life where things are not as they should be. And what happens is a lot of times we don't have the solution, so then we invent our own.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have a solution to that, and I don't even want to think about it. So what do? We medicate ourselves. And in one way or another, some people use alcohol, some people use other things, and some people just go crazy.
Some folks shop.
Yeah. You know, so it all depends upon your mindset. And bless his heart, he's been there. He's been there, and he's been there and back.
Got the T-shirt and the cap.
You know.
And you saw it
So
through.
you know, but that's my friend. Yeah, he's been good to me too.
Would you call yourself a resident of Freedmanstown now?
Yes, surely.
Because when we first met, you
I
said,
dare her not to.
I'm not really from here. You said.
Well,
you
originally
said that.
she's from Third Ward.
Right.
Yeah. Oh no. I don't have any connection now with Third Ward. Insofar as okay, I lived there. I graduated from high school there to Texas Southern. But after I married, then my husband's home became my home. His community became my community.
And he was from here.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is, like I say, was a very quiet man. But listen, when I came out here and everything was, ooh, wait, look at here. And I mean,
happy land.
And we were in a happy land. And so, and I just made friends. I made friends easily. You know, I didn't like enemies now. I didn't have time for that. But I made friends, and some of those people are not very many. Most of them have passed on. But maybe 2 or 3 people who were out here at that time are still around. But then you know what's fun and what's devastating too is sometimes as you grow older you'll find this out. You have memories and you think about, you know, back in 1950 you remember the song. You can have a song that'll come up, and you say, oh yeah, you know, you start popping your fingers. And it's nice to say, girl, do you remember that song? Yeah, baby, let me tell you. But if you don't have anybody to do that with, which has happened, and with Charles, he knows. But my close female friends, most of them are dead. And so, you don't have anybody to say, girl, do you remember such and such and such? Now, do you hear that song? And you can, and listen, you can hear a song, and it brings back a lot of stuff. It brings back a lot of memories that you thought were back here.
Do you have photographs from that time?
I'm sorry?
Do you have photos from that time? Of your early years?
Listen, yeah, I've got photos. You see these boxes here? Mm-hmm. When my baby was decided, we had to go back because she's making a slide as a presentation that just before the wedding. We had to go back through all these boxes. Plus I got a trunk in there full of pictures. Some of my, for example, here's one, my son, and wait a minute.